thank you, Juliana, for being so gracious to be our model. Juliana and I were talking about talks, and she has never had talks. That's right?
Correct.
So she's the perfect model to show all the movement in the face. So what I first like to demonstrate in Juliana is, can you raise your eyebrows? And so if you look at Juliana, she has the break right here, and that is called the line of convergence. We talked about that a little earlier, how this muscle goes up here and then comes down this way. And the line at which the part of the muscle that comes down and the part that moves up is called the line of convergence. So it's important when we do talks to put some talks up here to help elevate the brow. And when we do talks down here, we have to do lighter dosing so that we don't drop the brow, because this is helping to keep the brow elevated. The other area that is very important is this area right here, because this muscle brings the brow down. And when you do talks here, it elevates the brow medially in the midline. And when you do talks here, it also elevates the brow medially. The other great place for brow treatment is to put toxin right here. It helps elevate the lateral brow, and also putting toxin here elevates the lateral brow. So when you smile, Juliana, there's three components of the crow's feet. There's the upper component. Can you squint for us? So when she squints, this upper component you can see, and then smile again. She has this lower component that is also, there's three parts to the crow's feet. It's the squint part, the middle part, and then this part here, and also into here, which you can't treat right there because it would drop the mouth. So that's kind of important to know where this muscle right here, that's a totally different muscle. This muscle is a round muscle. We want to stay in that muscle. This muscle elevates the lip, so we don't want to put any toxin there. The other thing that's important, if someone, smile for me, Juliana, is very cheeky. So Juliana actually has really good cheeks. And sometimes when people are very full in their cheeks, you cannot put toxin here because they get a shell from the toxin. And so you want to keep the toxin above this area right here. So you just do part of the crow's feet so that people don't get this unnatural shelf-like look. So that's an important thing. There's also this muscle right here that, can you wrinkle your nose for me? We call them the bunny lines, and you can see how they create like little bunny whiskers. So we can do talks right there, which releases that. So sometimes when people have talks here and you don't do talks here, when they frown, they get these little, the nose kind of wrinkles. So sometimes you have to look at, basically you have to look at the anatomy and also the person's, how they animate, their face animates, so that you can customize your toxin treatment to a person's anatomy. So the other places on Juliana's face, sometimes you can do talks right here, it can lift the tip of the nose. You can do talks right here, which can actually evert the lip, which means bring the lip up like that a little bit, which is a very popular thing for people to do. You can do talks in the masseters right in here, can shape the face, bring the shape in and make it look more narrow. And for some people, that's really good. Also, it can help when people have TMJ. It can help with the grinding that they have. A lot of times also toxin can be used in the chin. This is one of my favorite places to do toxin, because after the age of 30, people start to do this and they get this big crease here and they get little dimples on their chin. And so that's when you look at somebody and they have puckers on their chin, it's from this repeated motion up and down with the chin. So in this area, we'll go in the little dimples and we'll also go a little bit deeper. And then can you just kind of frown for me, like her? Yeah, there you go. So this muscle right here is a muscle that moves down. It moves the corner of the mouth down. And so if you put some toxin right here, you can help elevate the corner of the mouth. So we talked about different areas that we can do toxin. And when you take the face as a whole and you think about what you're doing with toxin, not only the anatomy, but the dilution, the depth, the dose, and the direction, you can end up getting a very successful natural results. So we've been talking about most of the face, but I'd like to now talk a little bit about the jawline and the neck. So Juliana, can you do me a favor and say, big smile and say letter E? E. So when she does that, you can see there's bands of this muscle called the platysma muscle. And so when we start to get jowls right in this area, this band of the platysma muscle will pull down on the jowl and make the jowl overhang on the jawline. So you get this little depression, this little overhang here. So when we do talks, a lot of times we'll do even along this area. We'll put in like 8 units along here. And that actually essentially helps lift the face and sometimes can actually lift the cheek. So this muscle comes all the way up here. And so anything you do in this area can affect the entire face. So when we put talks here, here, and here, and that helps with the bands. I have more obvious bands than you do. So when I go E, you can see my bands, and so I do Botox in my bands. And I think it also helps this here when you put it here. And then the last thing is the Barbie neck, which I don't recommend. It's where you put talks in the trapezius muscle here. And what that does, it actually brings in and makes the neck longer and thinner. So I personally don't think that's a great idea, but it is trending on social media. But I love Botox in the neck. I love it along the jawline to help. And I love it in this muscle, in the chin, and all the other areas that we talked about.